If you can still dance at 80, even just a little sway in the kitchen, you're doing something most people your age no longer can. And that's not just cute or lucky. It's powerful. Dancing taps into strength, balance, memory, and joy, all at once. It's one of the most complete forms of movement for longevity. Today, I'll show you why dancing is more than just fun. It's a sign your body and brain are still deeply alive. Still dancing, or want to be. Subscribe for more ways to stay joyful and strong at every age. Share your favorite song to dance. 2 in the comments, because movement and music can keep us young longer than any pill. When you think of a workout, you might imagine treadmills, weights, or stretching on a mat. But dancing, it often gets overlooked, especially after 60, as just something fun. The truth is, dancing is one of the most complete and accessible full-body workouts you can do, without it feeling like exercise at all. Every time you sway to music, your legs stabilize and carry your weight, your core engages to maintain balance, and your arms move in coordination. You're not just grooving. You're building muscle strength, especially in key areas like the hips, thighs, and back. These are the muscles that support your posture and mobility as you age. More importantly, dancing is cardiovascular. A few minutes of moderate dancing can raise your heart rate, improve blood circulation, and support your lungs. This improves your stamina over time, without the boredom of walking laps or riding a stationary bike. Unlike repetitive gym routines, dancing keeps your brain involved. You're listening to rhythm, responding to beats, and coordinating your body. This mental engagement sharpens your motor skills and boosts memory retention. In fact, studies show that seniors who dance regularly have a lower risk of cognitive decline compared to those who don't. Because dancing is naturally joyful, it also lowers stress. Music reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, while physical movement releases endorphins, the feel-good chemicals your brain loves. You walk away from a dance not just physically better, but emotionally lighter. Best of all, you can do it in your own living room. No equipment needed. Just turn on a favorite tune, clear a little space, and let yourself move. Whether it's a slow shuffle, a tap of the foot, or a full spin, your body benefits at every level. Dancing doesn't just lift your mood, it literally lights up your brain. For people over 60, this matters more than ever. As we age, the brain naturally begins to shrink in certain areas tied to memory, coordination, and decision-making. But studies show that dancing can slow this process and help protect long-term cognitive health. Here's why. Dancing requires your brain to work on multiple levels at once. You're listening to music, auditory processing, remembering steps or patterns, memory, coordinating body movements, motor planning, and adjusting to rhythm or beat, timing, and sequencing. This combination is rare in other forms of movement, and it activates several regions of the brain simultaneously, including the hippocampus, memory, cerebellum, coordination, and prefrontal cortex, decision-making. Research from neurological studies has found that seniors who engage in regular dance activity are less likely to develop dementia. In fact, one major study from the New England Journal of Medicine found that of all physical activities, only dancing was associated with a lower risk of cognitive decline. Even if you're not learning complicated choreography, the simple act of moving to music strengthens the connections between brain cells. This supports neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire and adapt. That means dancing not only preserves what you have, but can actually help improve focus, clarity, and reaction time as you age. Another big benefit? Music itself is powerful medicine. It taps into emotional memory and can trigger positive feelings and old memories, even in people with advanced dementia. Pair that with movement, and you've got a tool that engages the whole brain and lifts the spirit at once. Dancing regularly, even just for a few minutes, helps keep your mind engaged, your thoughts clearer, and your brain younger. So next time you hear your favorite song, don't just hum along, stand up and let your brain dance too. As we age, balance becomes one of the first physical abilities to decline, and with that decline comes a higher risk of falls, which are the leading cause of injury in seniors. But dancing, even in small, simple ways, is one of the most enjoyable and effective ways to stay upright, confident, and mobile. Why? Because dancing engages and strengthens the muscles that support balance, your core, hips, and legs. Unlike walking, in a straight line, dancing involves directional changes, weight shifts, and body awareness. These subtle but powerful movements build the stabilizing muscles that keep you grounded. In fact, studies show that older adults who dance regularly have significantly better balance and reaction times than those who don't. When you follow rhythm and change direction with music, your body learns to respond faster to shifts, whether that's turning on a dance floor or catching yourself when you trip on a rug at home. Dancing also trains your proprioception, your body's ability to sense its position in space. This is key for preventing falls because it helps you stay centered and aware of how your body is moving. Seniors who practice dance-based movement often feel more confident walking, climbing stairs, and even getting out of bed. And unlike many balance exercises that can feel clinical or boring, dancing makes it fun. You're more likely to stick with it because it's joyful. Whether it's a slow waltz, a salsa step, or just swaying to your favorite tune in the living room, you're building strength, stability, and safety. You don't need to be graceful or coordinated to get the benefits. Just moving to music regularly sharpens your reflexes and helps your body learn how to respond with agility and strength, making dancing not just fun, but life-protecting. You don't need a treadmill or intense workouts to support your heart and lungs after 60 or 70. Just a few minutes of dancing, right in your living room, can be enough to gently train your cardiovascular system and boost your energy. Dancing is a form of aerobic exercise, meaning it raises your heart rate and gets you breathing more deeply. This increase in circulation helps your heart pump more efficiently and improves oxygen flow throughout your body. Over time, that means more stamina for everyday tasks, fewer feelings of fatigue, and better heart health overall. Unlike some forms of cardio that can feel repetitive or hard on the joints, dancing is easier to stick with because it's fun, rhythmic, and adaptable. You can choose your own pace, whether it's slow and swaying or more upbeat. Either way, you're engaging your respiratory system and encouraging healthy lung function. And here's what's remarkable. Even a 10-minute dance session can lead to measurable improvements in blood pressure and heart rate variability in older adults. That means better heart resilience and a reduced risk of cardiovascular events. Dancing also increases endorphin release, those feel-good chemicals that help reduce stress. Since chronic stress is a hidden contributor to heart disease, this emotional lift is just as important as the physical movement. Best of all, you can do it anywhere, anytime. No gym, no equipment, no pressure. Just your body, your favorite music, and a little space to move. Whether you're recovering from a health issue or looking to stay vibrant as you age, dancing offers a joyful, low-impact way to keep your heart and lungs strong for the years ahead. You don't need to be a professional dancer or know complicated steps to enjoy the benefits of dancing. The real magic happens simply by moving your body to music, no matter how small or uncoordinated the motions feel. Whether you're swaying gently in your living room, tapping your feet to a favorite tune, or even waltzing around the kitchen in your socks, every movement contributes to your health. The goal isn't to perfect a routine but to engage your muscles, improve circulation, and stimulate your brain. Dancing encourages body awareness and coordination without pressure. It's about enjoying the moment, feeling the rhythm, and letting your body move naturally. This low-stress approach makes dancing accessible for all fitness levels and ages, especially seniors who may have mobility limitations or balance concerns. By focusing on movement rather than mastery, you reduce stress and increase motivation to keep dancing regularly. This consistency is what builds strength, balance, and mental sharpness over time. So, forget the fear of making mistakes or not looking right. The benefits of dancing come from simply getting up and moving. No matter how you do it, your heart, lungs, muscles, and mind will thank you, and you might even find a new favorite way to enjoy music and connect with your body. Dancing is more than just physical exercise. It's a powerful mood booster and stress reliever that can transform your emotional well-being. When you dance, your brain releases feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. These natural mood enhancers help reduce feelings of anxiety and depression, making you feel happier and more relaxed. Moving to music creates a joyful experience that lifts your spirits and distracts from daily worries. The rhythm and flow encourage a playful mindset, which helps break negative thought patterns and reduces stress hormones like cortisol. This emotional release is especially important for seniors who may face loneliness or anxiety related to aging. Having a daily dance routine, or even just a few minutes of moving to your favorite songs, can give you something to look forward to. This sense of anticipation and enjoyment fuels motivation and creates positive habits that benefit your mental health. Dancing also promotes social connection when done with others, whether at a community center, dance class, or even virtually. Social interaction combined with physical movement intensifies the mood-enhancing effects, combating isolation and fostering a sense of belonging. By making dance a part of your life, you invite more joy, reduce stress, and nurture emotional balance. It's a simple, accessible way to improve your mood every day without medication or complicated therapy. Embrace dancing not just as exercise, but as a vital part of caring for your mental and emotional health as you age.